This video is actually part of a series of lectures that are in a class entitled the MBTI Learning Styles, the 16 Personalities. You can access this course at udemy.com, teachable.com, or thinkific.com. You can also find more information at studentsuccessspace.com, which is our website, and the information is in printed format on Amazon in both a paperback and Kindle versions. So we're going to start by looking at the ENFJ, extroverted, intuition, feeling, judging. This is part of that valuing pair, intuition plus feeling. And remember that these are people who really approach life with a warm and enthusiastic manner. They like to look at people and possibilities. They're dreamers. Here we go. We're going to start with their general description. They are warm, empathetic, responsive, responsible. They're highly attuned to emotions, needs, and motivation of others. They want everyone to be able to find their potential, and they want to help others to fulfill that potential. They act as catalysts for individual and group growth. Listen to some of these wonderful characteristics. Loyal, responsive, they like to praise, are responsive to praise, and they're very responsive to criticism. Remember, the valuing do not like criticism. They're sociable and they facilitate other people in a group. They provide inspiring leadership. I like to refer to these people as building builders. They build up the people around them. They're really loyal and trustworthy, and more than that, they love to have a variety of new challenges. Now, if you were to look at them, you may think, wow, they really bring a lot of enthusiasm and intensity to our group. That's who these people are. Let's look here at the learner keyword. Remember I promised you that there were going to be keywords? So if you think about the ENFJ, you want to think that they are communicative and they're cooperative. So they like to talk a lot, they're verbal, and they're cooperative. They like to answer the question when learning, whenever they learn anything, is this helpful to people? Now, if you look at their frequency, it's 2.5% of the total population. So they're not very frequent. It means that we're not going to see them very often, as only 2.5% of the population has this particular type. But they are energetic and they're enthusiastic and they're very aware of others. This is wonderful because they have the capability to even draw out and even involve a very reserved person. They would be a great person to pair up with an introvert in a partner situation. Their learner styles. They are most energized by information which is beneficial to others. They are active learners. They like to be physically active and intellectually active. They like hands-on learning. They need to search for solutions. So practical applications are very appealing to the ENFJ. They're fast learners and they thrive in a creative, imaginative atmosphere. They also enjoy learning generalities and theories because details are overwhelming to them. They exasperate them, but they can very quickly pull out patterns in anything. Let's look at their classroom environment. This is the optimal classroom environment for an ENFJ. They're going to learn well in groups and with individual work. They are flexible in this part. Isn't that wonderful? But they do need to have cooperation and harmony. So if they are in a group, you still need to be able to have some kind of harmonious relationship. They struggle to concentrate when there is contention. They need positive learning and positive feedback above everything else. They like structured classrooms with clear objectives and purpose. They enjoy a camaraderie with their friends. They need to have a great relationship with instructors and with peers. So group work and discussions and participation are the most effective instructional methodologies for your ENFJ. We're going to look now at the comparisons. What ways are they most comfortable compared to where they're least comfortable? Your ENFJ is most comfortable having an active role. Remember we talked about that hands-on, structured learning objectives, cooperation, positive feedback, right? Here are some of the things though, is that active classroom with interactive learning opportunities and also having a reward. Reward's really important to them because they want to at least be able to see if there was a purpose for what they learned. Now, if you want to make them uncomfortable, here's what you do. Now, I'm not going to say that you should, but in some ways, making a learner uncomfortable can really expound and build upon their opportunities to learn and develop challenges for them. You're going to want to give them, or not give them, if you don't want to stress them out, is a classroom that has full of passive learning, like a lecture. A lecture would be horrible. They don't like memorizing, they don't like competition, debates, criticism, contention, unstructured, routine, repetition, detail work, and especially long bouts of solitary work. This means that there's no interaction with other people, because they really need interactions with other people to be able to assimilate, chomp up, and process information. Here's some teaching tips for instructors. Make sure that you always have cooperation and harmony. They are emotionally and intellectually shut down when there's contention. They cannot learn in any classroom environment if it's not harmonious. This, of course, requires that you avoid debates. Debates are going to make them shut down. So if you see your extroverted person go inward and become more introverted, you know you've got a contention issue. They need supportive and encouragement from their instructors. Let me put it this way, as they don't survive well in contention, they're obviously not going to survive well with some kind of friction between their instructor or with criticism. They do like a wide range of instructional methodologies, but they don't like routines or repetition, so don't set up precise schedules. They like to have sources and information. They want to see where things came from. They really need interpersonal relationships. They love multimedia options. And when you use a group situation, make sure that you provide the entire group with standards and objectives and guidelines, maybe even specific roles, which will help to avoid any kind of contention when you're doing that first group organization. If you are a learner, here are some tips. Make sure that you really develop some strong relationships with your peers and your instructors, and let your instructor know that contention really, really makes it hard for you to learn. Most instructors are open to speaking to their students, especially when the students approach them and say, "This is how I can learn best." Make sure that you set up expectations and roles within your group right off the bat. Provide ways, or make sure that you have ways to brainstorm and be creative so that you can interact with your new knowledge. You want to create methods to study using a variety of methods. Read ahead in your class. This gives you an opportunity to really look out for practical applications and maybe do some hands-on information before you walk into class. Also remember to be physically active. Maybe that means walking while you're reading or using a treadmill. And I'm going to say this over and over because I do this all the time for my students, is make sure that you track what works best for you and what doesn't. And there are also some really, really good ways that you can strengthen and some potential areas for growth. Remember that you will tend, or ENFJs tend to worry and feel guilty and doubt themselves. So don't tend to fall that. Make sure that you realize that you do have great value.